The unexpected inheritance. Captain Sarah Chen stared out the viewport of her small apartment on Mars Colony, watching the rusty landscape stretch endlessly before her. It had been 5 years since she'd left Earth, seeking a fresh start after a disastrous military campaign that had cost her both her career and her faith in humanity. The quiet solitude of Mars suited her, even if the isolation sometimes gnawed at her soul. A soft chime from her comm unit broke her reverie. Sarah frowned, not expecting any messages. She walked over to the sleek, holographic display and tapped it, watching as a familiar face materialized before her. Sarah Chen, the AI assistant said in a pleasant tone, "You have received an urgent message from the Earth-Mars Legal Council. Would you like me to play it?" Sarah's frown deepened. "Play message," she said, her voice rough from disuse. The AI's face disappeared, replaced by the stern visage of an older woman in a crisp business suit. "Captain Sarah Chen," the woman began, "I am Amelia Harding, executor of the estate of Dr. Elias Reeves. I regret to inform you that Dr. Reeves passed away 3 days ago in an accident at his research facility on Europa." Sarah felt a pang of sadness. Elias had been her mentor during her early days in the space program, a brilliant xenobiologist with a passion for unlocking the secrets of the universe. They had drifted apart over the years, but she had always respected him. In accordance with Dr. Reeves' final wishes, Harding continued, "You have been named the sole beneficiary of his estate. This includes all of his research, his property on Europa," and the woman paused, a flicker of uncertainty passing over her face. "And his wife, Zara." Sarah blinked, sure she had misheard. "His wife," she muttered. "As you may know," Harding pressed on, "Dr. Reeves was involved in groundbreaking research on Europa, studying the indigenous life forms discovered beneath the ice. Zara is, well, she's not human, Captain Chen. She's a sentient aquatic being from Europa, and according to both Earth and European law, she was legally married to Dr. Reeves." Sarah's mind reeled. She vaguely remembered Elias mentioning a breakthrough in his research a few years back, but she had been too caught up in her own problems to pay much attention. Now it seemed that breakthrough was about to become her responsibility. "I understand, this is a lot to process," Harding said, her tone softening slightly. "But time is of the essence. There are certain parties interested in Dr. Reeves' research and in Zara herself. It's crucial that you come to Europa as soon as possible to claim your inheritance and ensure Zara's safety." The message ended, leaving Sarah staring at the blank screen, her thoughts in turmoil. She had come to Mars to escape responsibility, to hide from the world. Now, it seemed, the universe had other plans. With a heavy sigh, Sarah began to pack. Whatever Elias had gotten himself into, whatever this Zara was, she owed it to her old friend to see this through. Little did she know that her decision would set in motion a chain of events that would change the fate of humanity forever. The journey to Europa took 3 weeks, during which Sarah pored over the files Harding had sent her. Elias' research was fascinating, detailing the discovery of a complex ecosystem beneath Europa's icy surface. But it was the information about Zara that truly captivated her. According to Elias' notes, Zara's species, which he had dubbed Europans, were highly intelligent, possessing technology far beyond human understanding. They lived in vast underwater cities, their bodies adapted to the crushing pressures and near-freezing temperatures of Europa's subsurface ocean. What truly set the Europans apart, however, was their ability to manipulate energy at a quantum level. Elias theorized that this ability allowed them to communicate instantaneously across vast distances, and even to influence the fabric of space-time itself. As her ship approached Europa, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She had come seeking answers, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was about to step into something far larger than she had anticipated. The research facility was a marvel of engineering, a sprawling complex built into the side of an icy ridge. As Sarah stepped off the shuttle, she was greeted by a small team of scientists, their faces a mix of curiosity and concern. Captain Chen, a tall, lanky man said, stepping forward. I'm Dr. Marcus Sao, head of research here at Europa Station. We're relieved you've arrived. Sarah nodded, sensing the tension in the air. Where's Zara? She asked, cutting straight to the chase. Marcus hesitated, then gestured for her to follow. They made their way through winding corridors until they reached a massive chamber dominated by a huge cylindrical tank filled with swirling bioluminescent water. And there, floating serenely in the center of the tank, was Zara. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Zara was unlike anything she had ever seen. Her body was sleek and streamlined, reminiscent of Earth's dolphins, but with an alien grace that defied description. Her skin shimmered with patterns of light that seemed to pulse in time with some unheard rhythm. But it was her eyes that truly captured Sarah, large, luminous orbs that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. As Sarah approached the tank, Zara's gaze locked onto her. Suddenly, Sarah felt a presence in her mind, a gentle touch that somehow conveyed both curiosity and sorrow. She's in my head, Sarah gasped, looking at Marcus. The scientist nodded. It's how they communicate. Zara's been, well, mourning is the best way to describe it. She and Elias were very close. Sarah turned back to the tank, placing her hand against the cool glass. I'm sorry about Elias, she thought, uncertain if Zara would understand. I'm here to help. The alien's eyes seemed to brighten, and Sarah felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. But there was something else too, a sense of urgency, of looming danger. Captain Chen, Marcus said, his voice low and urgent. There's something you need to know. Elias' death, it wasn't an accident. Sarah turned to him, her eyes narrowing. What do you mean? Marcus glanced nervously at the other scientists who had gathered at the far end of the chamber. Elias was on the verge of a major breakthrough, something that could change everything we know about the universe. But there are those who don't want that knowledge to get out. As if on cue, alarms began to blare throughout the facility. Marcus' eyes widened in fear. They're here, he whispered. Sarah's military training kicked in instantly. Who's here? She demanded, already scanning the room for potential weapons and exits. The Syndicate, Marcus replied, his voice shaking. A shadow organization that's been trying to suppress knowledge of the Europans. They're the ones who killed Elias, and now they're here for Zara, and for you. Sarah's mind raced. She was unarmed, on an unfamiliar base, facing an unknown enemy. But as she looked back at Zara, still floating serenely in her tank, she knew she couldn't abandon her. How do we get Zara out of here? She asked Marcus. The scientist shook his head. We can't. The tank is her life support. Without it. Sarah gritted her teeth, frustration mounting. But before she could respond, she felt another touch in her mind, stronger this time, more focused. Images flashed through her consciousness, schematics of the base, security protocols, and something else. A plan. She gasped as the connection broke, staring at Zara in amazement. The alien's eyes glowed with determination, and Sarah understood. Zara had just given her everything she needed to fight back. Marcus, Sarah said, a grim smile spreading across her face. I'm going to need your help. We're not running. We're going to stand and fight. As the sounds of combat grew closer, Sarah prepared herself for battle. She didn't know exactly what she had inherited from Elias, but she was beginning to understand that it was far more than just an alien wife. It was a chance to protect something extraordinary, something that could change the course of human history. With Zara's knowledge filling her mind and determination stealing her heart, Sarah Chen prepared to face the oncoming storm. The battle for Europa, and perhaps for the future of humanity, was about to begin. Unraveling the mystery. The chaos that erupted in Europa Station was unlike anything Sarah had ever experienced, even during her military career. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the distant sound of explosions reverberated through the icy corridors. But amidst the pandemonium, Sarah felt an eerie sense of calm, her mind filled with the knowledge Zara had imparted. Marcus, Sarah barked, her voice cutting through the din. "I need you to initiate Protocol Omega-9. The scientist's eyes widened in shock. "How do you know about that? It's a top secret." "No time," Sarah interrupted. "Just do it. Trust me." As Marcus hurried to a nearby console, Sarah turned her attention to Zara's tank. The alien's bioluminescent patterns had intensified, pulsing with an urgency that matched the situation. Sarah placed her hand on the glass, feeling a faint vibration beneath her palm. "I understand," she murmured, though she wasn't entirely sure she did. The plan Zara had shared was audacious, bordering on impossible, but it was their only hope. Suddenly, the lights in the chamber dimmed, replaced by an eerie blue glow. Marcus looked up from the console, his face pale. "Protocol Omega-9 activated. The station's quantum shielding is online, but it won't hold for long against a determined assault." Sarah nodded, her mind racing. "It doesn't need to. We just need enough time to." Her words were cut off by a deafening explosion. The main door to the chamber buckled inward, smoke billowing through the cracks. Sarah could hear shouts and the sound of heavy boots approaching. "Everyone, back," she yelled, positioning herself between the door and Zara's tank. The other scientists scrambled for cover, but Marcus stood his ground beside her. "I'm not leaving," he said, his voice surprisingly steady. "Elias was my friend too." Before Sarah could argue, the door burst open. Through the smoke strode a figure that seemed more machine than human, a towering exosuit bristling with weapons, its featureless faceplate reflecting the chamber's blue glow. "Captain Sarah Chen," a modulated voice boomed from the suit. "Step aside. The Europan specimen is property of the Syndicate." Sarah felt a surge of anger at hearing Zara referred to as a specimen. "I don't think so," she growled. "This facility and everything in it, including Zara, belongs to me now. And you're trespassing." The exosuit took a menacing step forward. "You don't understand what you're dealing with, Captain. The power contained within that creature could reshape the galaxy. It's too dangerous to be left in the hands of—" The voice paused, dripping with disdain. "Amateurs." Sarah was about to retort when she felt a familiar presence in her mind. Zara's thoughts flooded her consciousness, but this time they were accompanied by something else, a surge of energy that made Sarah's skin tingle. Instinctively, Sarah raised her hand. To her amazement, a shimmering field of energy erupted from her palm, coalescing into a translucent barrier between them and the Syndicate forces. The exosuit stumbled back in surprise. "Impossible," the modulated voice whispered. "How are you?" But Sarah was beyond hearing. The energy flowing through her was intoxicating, filling her with a sense of power she'd never known. She could feel Zara guiding her, showing her how to manipulate the quantum forces that permeated the universe. With a thought, Sarah sent a pulse of energy toward the exosuit. The figure was thrown backward, crashing into the far wall with bone-crushing force. The other Syndicate agents opened fire, their advanced weapons leaving scorch marks on Sarah's energy barrier. "Marcus," Sarah called out, her voice strained with the effort of maintaining the shield. "We need to move. Now." The scientist nodded, typing furiously at the console. Suddenly, the floor beneath Zara's tank began to lower, revealing a hidden chamber below. "An escape route," Marcus explained. "Elias always had a backup plan." As the tank descended, Sarah felt a moment of panic. Her connection to Zara was weakening, but then she realized she didn't need physical proximity. Somehow, impossibly, she could still feel the alien's presence in her mind. "Everyone, into the chamber," Sarah ordered, slowly backing up while maintaining the energy barrier. The remaining scientists scrambled to obey, sliding down into the hidden room below. Just as Sarah was about to follow, she heard a slow clap echoing through the ruined chamber. A figure stepped through the smoke, a woman in an immaculate business suit, her silver hair pulled back in a severe bun. "Impressive, Captain Chen," the woman said, her voice cold and familiar. "I see Elias chose his hair well." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Amelia Harding," she spat. "You're with the Syndicate." Harding smiled, a predatory gleam in her eye. "Oh, I'm much more than that, my dear. I am the Syndicate. And you—" she gestured at the destruction around them. "You are proving to be a most interesting variable in this equation." Before Sarah could respond, she felt a sharp tug in her mind, Zara, urging her to hurry. With a final glare at Harding, Sarah leaped into the hidden chamber, sealing the entrance behind her. The underground tunnel was dimly lit and narrow, clearly designed for emergencies. Sarah could hear the sounds of pursuit above them, growing more distant as they hurried along the passageway. "Where does this lead?" she asked Marcus as they ran. "To Elias' private lab," he panted. "It's where he conducted his most sensitive experiments. If there are answers about what's really going on here, we'll find them there." As they emerged into a vast, cathedral-like chamber, filled with humming machinery and holographic displays, Sarah felt a sense of awe. This was where Elias had made his groundbreaking discoveries, where he had first communicated with Zara and unlocked the secrets of the universe. But there was no time for wonder. They had to work fast. The Syndicate wouldn't be far behind. "Marcus, start downloading everything you can," Sarah ordered. "I need to know what Elias discovered that was worth killing for." As the scientists set to work, Sarah approached Zara's tank. The alien's eyes met hers, and suddenly the connection between them intensified. Sarah gasped as knowledge flooded her mind, not just information, but understanding. She saw the true nature of the universe, the underlying quantum fabric that connected all things. She understood how the Europans had evolved to manipulate this energy, and how that ability could reshape reality itself. But more than that, she saw the danger. In the wrong hands, this power could destroy worlds, enslave entire species. The Syndicate didn't want to suppress this knowledge. They wanted to weaponize it. As the vision faded, Sarah stumbled, overwhelmed. She looked at Zara with new eyes, understanding at last the true nature of her inheritance. "Oh, Elias," she whispered, "what have you gotten me into?" But even as she asked the question, Sarah knew the answer. Elias had entrusted her with this power, this responsibility, because he believed in her. He believed that she could protect Zara, safeguard this knowledge, and use it for the betterment of humanity. A loud explosion from above shook the chamber. Their time was running out. "Marcus," Sarah called, a new determination in her voice. "Forget the download. We need to destroy everything." The scientist looked at her in shock. "But this is Elias' life's work." Sarah shook her head. "The knowledge is safe," she said, tapping her temple. "But we can't let it fall into the wrong hands." As Marcus reluctantly began the process of wiping the systems, Sarah turned back to Zara. She placed her hand on the tank, feeling the connection between them grow stronger. "I don't fully understand what's happening," Sarah thought, hoping Zara could hear her. "But I promise, I'll protect you, whatever it takes." Zara's eyes seemed to glow with approval. Suddenly, the water in the tank began to churn, glowing with an intense blue light. Sarah stepped back in amazement as Zara's form began to change, shifting and reforming. Before their eyes, Zara emerged from the tank, no longer an aquatic being but something more. Her body was humanoid now, composed of swirling energy barely contained in a physical form. She was breathtakingly beautiful and utterly alien. As Zara stepped towards her, Sarah felt no fear. She understood now that this was always meant to happen. She and Zara were two parts of a greater whole, brought together by Elias' final act. The chamber shook again, more violently this time. The Syndicate was almost upon them. "Are you ready?" Sarah asked, extending her hand to Zara. The alien nodded, her luminous eyes filled with trust and determination. As their hands touched, Sarah felt a surge of power unlike anything she had ever experienced. In that moment, as the world seemed to fall away around them, Sarah Chen realized that her journey was just beginning. With Zara by her side and the power of the cosmos at her fingertips, she would face the Syndicate and whatever other threats awaited them. The battle for the future of humanity had begun, and Sarah was ready to fight. The cosmic convergence. As Sarah's hand intertwined with Zora's, a blinding flash of cerulean light engulfed the chamber. The air crackled with raw energy, and for a moment, time itself seemed to stand still. When the light faded, Sarah gasped, realizing they were no longer in Elias' secret lab. They stood on what appeared to be a vast plain of shimmering, translucent crystal. Above them, nebulae and galaxies swirled in a cosmic dance, closer and more vivid than Sarah had ever seen, even during her time in space. The beauty was breathtaking, but the implications were staggering. "Where are we?" Sarah whispered, her voice echoing strangely in the impossible space. Zora's form, still composed of swirling energy, pulsed gently. When she spoke, it was directly into Sarah's mind, her thoughts a symphony of alien concepts and emotions. "This is the Nexus," Zora explained, her mental voice rich with awe and reverence. "The crossroads of all realities, the place where the quantum fabric of the universe is thinnest." Sarah's mind reeled, struggling to process the information flooding her consciousness. But how? Why? Elias discovered the key to accessing the Nexus, Zora continued. It was his greatest breakthrough, and his greatest burden. The Syndicate seeks to control this place, to harness its power for dominion over all existence. As if summoned by Zora's words, a dark ripple spread across the crystalline plane. Sarah tensed, instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Instead, she felt the cosmic energy surging within her, responding to her will. From the darkness emerged a figure Sarah recognized, Amelia Harding, her business suit replaced by armor that seemed to absorb light itself. Behind her, an army of shadow-like beings coalesced, their forms shifting and writhing. "Impressive," Harding's voice echoed across the plain, dripping with malice. "I didn't think you'd unlock the secret so quickly, Captain Chen, but then Elias always did have an eye for talent." Sarah stepped forward, placing herself between Harding and Zora. "This ends now, Harding. Whatever you're planning, whatever you hope to gain, it's not worth the risk." Harding laughed, the sound sharp and cold. "Oh, my dear, you have no idea. The power of the Nexus isn't just about controlling reality, it's about reshaping it. Imagine a universe without war, without hunger, without the petty squabbles of lesser beings. A perfect order, under our guiding hand." "Your guiding hand, you mean?" Sarah retorted. "That's not order, it's tyranny." "Call it what you will," Harding shrugged. "The outcome is inevitable. Even now, our agents are spreading across the galaxy, preparing for the great convergence. Soon, all realities will be ours to command." As Harding spoke, the shadows behind her began to move, spreading out across the crystal plane. Where they touched, the shimmering surface began to darken and crack. Sarah felt a surge of panic. She turned to Zora, her mind racing. "How do we stop this?" Zora's form pulsed, her thoughts tinged with determination. "The Nexus responds to will and intent. Together, we can counteract their corruption, but it will take everything we have." Sarah nodded, understanding flooding her mind. She reached out, not with her hand, but with her consciousness, feeling the quantum energy that permeated this place. Beside her, Zara did the same, their energies intertwining in a dazzling display of light and power. As one, they pushed back against the encroaching darkness. Where their combined will touch the crystal plane, it blazed with renewed brilliance. The shadow beings hissed and recoiled, their forms dissipating like smoke in the wind. Harding's face contorted with rage. "You think you can stand against us? We are legion. We are inevitable." She raised her hands, dark energy crackling between her fingers. With a scream of fury, she launched a bolt of pure corruption towards Sarah and Zara. Time seemed to slow. Sarah saw the attack coming, knew they couldn't dodge in time. In that moment of crisis, she made a decision that would change everything. Zara stepped directly into the path of Harding's attack, shielding Zara with her body. As the dark energy struck her, she felt pain beyond anything she had ever experienced. But she also felt something else, a connection to the Nexus itself, as if the very fabric of reality was reaching out to her. In a flash of insight, Zara understood. The Nexus wasn't just a place, it was alive, in a way beyond human comprehension. And it had chosen her, just as Elias had. With the last of her strength, Zara reached out to the living consciousness of the Nexus. She showed it the beauty of humanity's potential, the wonder of discovery, the power of love and sacrifice. And she showed it the threat posed by Harding and the Syndicate, the darkness that sought to corrupt all of existence. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The crystal plane erupted with light, brighter than 1,000 suns. Zara felt herself being enveloped in warmth, her pain fading away as her body was suffused with the pure energy of creation itself. When the light faded, Zara stood transformed. Her body glowed with the same energy that composed Zara's form, and she could feel the pulse of the universe flowing through her veins. Harding stared in disbelief, her army of shadows cowering behind her. What are you?" Zara smiled, feeling the power of the Nexus coursing through her. "I am what you could have been, Harding. A guardian, not a tyrant. A protector of life, not its would-be master." With a gesture, Zara sent a wave of purifying energy across the crystal plane. The cracks and corruption caused by the Syndicate's presence vanished, replaced by a landscape more vibrant and alive than ever before. Harding screamed in defiance, launching attack after attack, but Zara deflected them effortlessly, each strike dissipating harmlessly against her radiant form. "It's over, Harding," Zara said, her voice resonating with the power of the Nexus. "Your great convergence ends here." With a final desperate cry, Harding charged forward, dark energy swirling around her like a maelstrom. But as she reached Zara, her form simply unraveled. The darkness that had sustained her was no match for the pure creative force that now flowed through Zara. As Harding's essence scattered to the cosmic winds, her army of shadows faded away, leaving Zara and Zara alone on the restored plane of the Nexus. Zara approached, her energy form pulsing with joy and relief. "You did it," she communicated, her thoughts filled with wonder. "You've become one with the Nexus. Do you understand what this means?" Zara nodded, feeling the weight of her new role settling upon her. "I'm not just its guardian now. I'm its voice, its will made manifest." She looked out across the infinite expanse of the Nexus, seeing not just this reality but countless others. She saw the threads of possibility stretching out in all directions, and she understood her purpose with perfect clarity. "The Syndicate was just the beginning," Zara said, her voice filled with determination. "There will be other threats, other forces that seek to control or destroy. But we'll be ready." Zara's form shimmered in agreement. "We are the defenders of all realities now. The task before us is great, but together we're greater still." As they stood there, guardians of the cosmic crossroads, Zara felt a sense of purpose unlike anything she had ever known. The inheritance Elias had left her was far more than an alien wife or a secret lab. It was a sacred duty, a chance to protect and nurture the infinite potential of all existence. With Zara by her side and the power of the Nexus flowing through her, Zara Chen prepared to face whatever challenges the universe might throw at them. The adventure of a lifetime, of many lifetimes, was just beginning. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of the cosmos, Zara could almost hear Elias laughing with joy at the wonders yet to come. The multiversal Odyssey. The cosmic winds of the Nexus swirled around Zara and Zara, their forms shimmering with otherworldly energy. As the new guardians of reality, they stood at the precipice of infinite possibilities, the weight of countless universes resting upon their shoulders. "We can't stay here forever," Zara mused, her voice echoing with the resonance of 1,000 stars. "The Syndicate may be defeated, but their actions have set something in motion. I can feel it." Zara's luminous form pulsed in agreement. The great convergence they sought to control has begun, albeit in an unexpected way. Realities are bleeding into one another, and the barriers between dimensions are weakening. As if to emphasize her point, the crystal plane beneath them shuddered. Fractal patterns of light and shadow danced across its surface, forming windows into other worlds, other times. Sarah saw glimpses of realities both wondrous and terrifying, worlds where humanity had reached the stars and others where civilization had crumbled to dust. "We need to stabilize the multiverse," Sarah declared, her mind racing with newfound cosmic awareness. But how? Zora's thoughts merged with Sarah's, a symphony of alien concepts and intuitions. The Nexus Key, she proposed. It's the linchpin that holds the multiverse together. Elias theorized its existence, but never found it. Sarah nodded, understanding blooming in her mind. And now it's up to us to find it and use it to prevent total cosmic collapse. With a shared thought, Sarah and Zara reached out to the fabric of the Nexus. The crystal plane shimmered and shifted, forming a swirling portal of iridescent energy. "Are you ready?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. Zara's form brightened in response. Always. Hand in hand, they stepped through the portal, embarking on a journey across the multiverse. Their first stop was a world of gleaming crystal spires and impossible architecture. Beings of pure thought flitted through the air, their conversations a cascade of colors and mathematical equations. The Cerebral Collective, Zara explained, a civilization that transcended physical form eons ago. If anyone knows about the Nexus Key, it would be them. As Sarah and Zara approached, the thought beings swirled around them, curious and cautious. Sarah felt their minds brush against hers, a sensation both exhilarating and overwhelming. "Greetings, guardians of the Nexus," a voice echoed in their minds, a chorus of harmonious thoughts. "We have foreseen your coming, though the outcome remains shrouded." Sarah stepped forward, her cosmic form radiating with purpose. "We seek the Nexus Key," she declared. "The multiverse is in danger, and we need to stabilize it." The thought beings pulsed with concern, their colors shifting to deep blues and purples. "The key is not a thing, but a concept," they explained. "It is the prime equation, the fundamental truth that underlies all of reality." "How can we find it?" Zara asked, her alien mind grappling with the abstract concept. "You must journey to the 6 pillars of creation," the collective intoned. "Each holds a fragment of the equation. Unite them, and the key will be revealed." Before Sarah could ask for more details, the world around them began to shift and warp. The crystal spires melted away, replaced by a landscape of roiling chaos and primordial energy. "The convergence accelerates," Zara warned, her form flickering as reality itself became unstable. "We must hurry." Their cosmic odyssey took them across the breadth of the multiverse. They traversed worlds of fire and ice, negotiated with elder gods in realms beyond mortal comprehension, and battled cosmic horrors in the spaces between dimensions. At each pillar of creation, they faced trials that tested not just their newfound powers, but the very essence of who they were. The Pillar of Wisdom. In a vast library containing the knowledge of 1 billion civilizations, they had to discern truth from illusion, separating cosmic fact from multiversal fiction. The Pillar of Courage. On a war-torn planet, where time itself was a weapon, they stood against the tide of a never-ending battle, holding the line against impossible odds. The Pillar of Compassion. In a dying universe where every act of kindness hastened the heat-death of reality, they had to find a way to save lives without dooming existence itself. The Pillar of Innovation. Trapped in a dimension where the laws of physics were constantly changing, they had to adapt and evolve, pushing the boundaries of their cosmic powers. The Pillar of Harmony. In a realm of pure music, where discord could shatter planets, they learned to blend their essences into a perfect cosmic duet. The Pillar of Sacrifice. Standing at the edge of creation, they faced a choice that would define not just their journey, but the fate of all realities. As they claimed the final fragment of the equation, Sarah and Zara found themselves back in the Nexus, the crystal plane now a maelstrom of colliding realities. The multiverse was tearing itself apart, the convergence reaching its cataclysmic peak. "We have all the pieces," Sarah said, her voice strained as she struggled to hold back the tide of cosmic chaos. "But how do we use them?" Zara's form pulsed with sudden understanding. The equation isn't meant to be solved, she realized. It's meant to be lived. In that moment of clarity, Sarah understood. The Nexus key wasn't a tool or a weapon, it was a choice. A choice to embrace the infinite complexity of existence, to accept that chaos and order, creation and destruction were all part of the grand cosmic dance. As reality crumbled around them, Sarah and Zara made their choice. They opened themselves fully to the multiverse, becoming conduits for the raw power of creation itself. The fragments of the equation merged with their very beings, transforming them into living embodiments of the Nexus key. With a thought more powerful than a billion Big Bangs, they reached out across the multiverse. Reality stabilized, dimensional barriers reasserted themselves, and the great convergence was gently guided to its natural conclusion. As the cosmic storm subsided, Sarah and Zara found themselves changed. They were no longer merely guardians of the Nexus, but integral parts of the multiverse itself. Their consciousness spanned countless realities, their every thought rippling across the fabric of existence. "What now?" Sarah asked, her voice carrying the weight of newfound cosmic responsibility. Zara's response came not in words, but in a vision of infinite possibilities. They saw worlds in need of guidance, civilizations on the brink of transcendence, and new life stirring in the depths of uncharted dimensions. "We have work to do," Sarah said, a smile spreading across her cosmic form. Hand in hand, the guardians of the Nexus set out across the restored multiverse. Their journey had only just begun, and the greatest adventures of all existence lay ahead. As they traveled, a whisper echoed through the cosmic winds, a message from a familiar voice filled with pride and joy. "Well done, my friends. The universe is in good hands." Elias, it seemed, had known all along where this incredible journey would lead. The eternal recursion. As Sarah and Zara traversed the restored multiverse, their cosmic forms leaving trails of stardust in their wake, they began to notice something peculiar. Patterns emerged in the fabric of reality, echoes of familiar events playing out across different dimensions. It was as if the multiverse itself was caught in a loop, endlessly recreating variations of the same cosmic drama. "Do you see it?" Sarah asked, her voice resonating across quantum frequencies. Zara's form shimmered in affirmation. "The recursion, it's subtle, but unmistakable. Something is causing the multiverse to repeat itself, albeit with infinite variations." Their journey took them to the fringes of existence, where reality frayed into pure possibility. Here, they encountered a being unlike any they had seen before, a creature of living mathematics, its form a constantly shifting fractal pattern. "Greetings, guardians of the Nexus," the being's voice echoed in their minds, each word a cascade of prime numbers and complex equations. "I am the Algorithmicon, keeper of the cosmic code." Sarah and Zara exchanged a glance, their thoughts intertwining. This encounter felt significant, as if they had stumbled upon a crucial piece of the cosmic puzzle. "Algorithmicon," Sarah began, her words carefully chosen. "We've noticed a pattern of recursion throughout the multiverse. Do you know what's causing it?" The fractal being's form pulsed with what might have been excitement. "Ah, you've perceived the great loop. It is the fundamental nature of existence itself. Reality is a self-replicating algorithm, endlessly iterating and evolving." Zara's form flickered with concern. "But if everything is predetermined by this cosmic algorithm, where is the room for free will, for growth and change?" The algorithmicon's pattern shifted, forming complex spirals and nested loops. The beauty of the cosmic code lies in its infinite complexity. Within each iteration, there is room for countless variations, for choices that ripple across realities. As the being spoke, Sarah and Zara began to perceive the underlying structure of the multiverse in a new light. They saw how each decision, each quantum fluctuation, created branching timelines that fed back into the great cosmic loop. But there's more, the algorithmicon continued, its form now a dizzying array of interlocking geometries. The code is not perfect. There are bugs, glitches in the fabric of reality itself. Sarah felt a chill run through her cosmic form. What kind of glitches? The algorithmicon's voice took on a grave tone, its fractal patterns becoming jagged and chaotic. Paradoxes, logical inconsistencies that threaten to unravel entire swaths of the multiverse, and they're spreading. Suddenly, the space around them warped and twisted. Reality itself seemed to glitch, fragments of different dimensions bleeding into one another. Sarah and Zara instinctively reached out, using their powers as Nexus Guardians to stabilize the area. "This is worse than we thought," Zara communicated, her thoughts tinged with urgency. "If these glitches continue to spread, they could undo all our work in stabilizing the multiverse." The algorithmicon's form began to fade, its voice growing distant. "The fate of all existence rests in your hands, Guardians. You must debug the cosmic code, or all will be lost to chaos." As the fractal being disappeared, Sarah and Zara found themselves alone in the void between realities. The task before them was daunting. How does one debug the very fabric of existence? "We need to think bigger," Sarah mused, her cosmic mind racing with possibilities. "If reality is an algorithm, then perhaps we can rewrite it." Zara's form pulsed with agreement, but also caution. Rewriting the fundamental laws of existence is dangerous. One wrong move could erase everything we fought to protect. Their discussion was interrupted by a violent tremor in the cosmic fabric. Cracks appeared in the void around them, leaking impossible colors and non-Euclidean geometries. Through these rifts, they could see realities collapsing, timelines unraveling as the glitches in the cosmic code spread. "We're out of time," Sarah declared. "We have to act now." Together, they reached out with their combined cosmic awareness, perceiving the multiverse not as a collection of realities, but as a vast, intricate program. They saw the loops and subroutines, the variables and constants that defined existence itself. And there, hidden in the deepest layers of reality, they found the bugs, tiny inconsistencies that had grown and replicated, threatening to crash the entire system. "Ready?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. Zara's form blazed with determination. "Always." As one, they began to rewrite the cosmic code. It was a task of unimaginable complexity, requiring them to balance the fundamental forces of nature, to reconcile quantum mechanics with general relativity, to ensure causality while preserving free will. They worked tirelessly, their cosmic forms stretched across countless dimensions as they debugged reality itself. They closed loopholes that allowed for paradoxes, optimized the algorithms governing the flow of time, and introduced new subroutines to handle the infinite possibilities of quantum events. As they worked, they began to understand the true nature of their role as guardians of the Nexus. They weren't just protectors, they were cosmic programmers, responsible for maintaining and updating the greatest open-source project in existence. Finally, after what could have been moments or millennia, they were done. The new and improved cosmic code pulsed with vibrant energy, free of the glitches that had threatened to unravel it. As the updated program began to run, Sarah and Zara watched in awe as the multiverse reinitiated itself. Realities that had been on the brink of collapse stabilized. New dimensions sprouted into existence, born from the optimized algorithms they had written. But something was different. The rigid patterns of recursion they had noticed before were gone, replaced by a new dynamic system of infinite possibility. "We did it," Sarah breathed, her voice filled with wonder. "We didn't just debug the code, we evolved it." Zara's form shimmered with joy and pride. The multiverse is no longer caught in an endless loop. Now it can truly grow and change. As they marveled at their handiwork, they felt a familiar presence, the consciousness of the Nexus itself, reaching out to them with gratitude and approval. "You have done well, Guardians," the voice of the Nexus echoed through their beings. "You have ensured that existence will continue to flourish and evolve, but your journey is far from over." Sarah and Zora shared a look of understanding. They were no longer bound by the limits of their former selves, no longer mere inheritors of a cosmic legacy. They had become something more, architects of reality, shepherds of infinite possibility. "What's next?" Sarah asked, excitement building within her cosmic form. Zora's response came not in words, but in a vision of uncharted dimensions, of new forms of life and consciousness waiting to be discovered and nurtured. Hand in hand, the Guardians of the Nexus set out once more into the vast, newly optimized multiverse. They had debugged reality itself, but the true adventure was just beginning. As they ventured forth, the words of the Nexus lingered in their minds, a reminder of the eternal nature of their cosmic duty. "The code may be perfect, but perfection is not an end, it is a beginning. Go forth, Guardians, and write the next chapter in the infinite story of existence." And so Sarah Chen, once a disillusioned ex-soldier, and Zara, once an alien being from beneath the ice of Europa, continued their cosmic odyssey. They had inherited more than they could have ever imagined, and in doing so, had given all of reality the greatest inheritance of all, a future of boundless potential. The multiverse hummed with newfound vitality, each reality a blank canvas awaiting the touch of conscious beings to paint their own destinies. And at the heart of it all, two unlikely heroes turned cosmic guardians watched over creation, ready to face whatever challenges the infinite tapestry of existence might weave next.